So today we're gonna have a look at No Quarter magazine #1.
Good old days, eh?
Yeah. So this is July 2005.
Yep.
So I remember bringing this magazine in. I was very very excited because back in the day there was
There was nothing but White Dwarf, really.
Yeah,
And Dungeon and Dragon magazine.
Dungeon magazine, Dragon magazine, and White Dwarf. Yeah, that's right. So I think this is a really good move. What do you think?
Well, initially I was a bit hesitant because because No Quarter was actually quarterly.
Yeah, that's why it's called No Quarter.
Once every 3 months.
Right. So why didn't you like it?
Well, magazines aren't very thick, so you'd go through it real quick. Like, on the bright side, I mean, first couple of issues are virtually burned in my memory to a certain degree.
I mean, it's $5.99. It's $5.99. That's actually...
It was thicker than White Dwarf was at the time. Because remember, at one point, White Dwarf became this advertising pamphlet.
Yeah.
There were almost no articles in it.
Yeah,
so No Quarter brought back what White Dwarf was missing then.
Right. Yeah, I like the cover. Do you like the cover?
Oh yeah, Irusk and all his fancy jacks. Being a Cardo player, naturally I'd love the cover. Irusk wasn't bright and shiny at this time though. This is when they were first introducing the big casters: Terminus, Karchev, Harbinger, Darius.
Right.
This was Apotheosis, the third book.
Right. Yeah. It'll say so later when we go through the book. So let's flip this. I like the cover. I really like that cover. Anything Cardo on the cover I like.
But of course.
And I'm sure you like it as well. Right, so we've got Fire in the Hole, and Fire in the Hole is basically the editorial.
Yep.
Some of the credits. And we got a table of contents right there.
Mm-hmm.
Go through them in a bit. Okay, so we got July releases. So this was releases July 2005.
Yes, this was around this time. This was just before Superiority. The Superiority book was coming out. What they often did was they released the models piecemeal, then they started previewing them in No Quarter.
Yeah,
and then you would get to see all the rules compiled when the individual books came out.
I thought that was a great idea to sell. I mean, I'm looking at it from a game shop point of view.
Of course.
So this is great. I mean, flip throughs like this are good because on one side I'm the game store. You know, I'm looking at it from the...
And I'm looking at it from the customers.
Right. And also as a gamer,
Yeah,
you know. So I like this because it gave a chance for me to like take orders, you know, and preview what worked, what looked good.
And like I said, like what White Dwarf used to be and has also returned to, No Quarter was a good mixture of magazine and advertising.
Right, but then in 2005 I can't remember, was the internet big?
It was,
but we weren't getting much updates on the internet, right?
Correct.
Right.
Because remember, PP is technically still a small company.
Yeah. All right. So on this page we see some
variant sculpt for Haley. Then there was the first sculpt for Ashton.
Here it is, right here.
You can see the mule here. This is back when Jax was still individual metal kits.
Yeah, I didn't like the mule. Actually, in this whole page, I think the Ogren Booker.
The Boker is a badass.
Yeah.
But I like the Vanguard.
But for me, that sold the most in the store. Ogren Booker. Every few months, would
the
sell.
The reason Ogren Boker moves so well is because it literally works for everybody but Protectorate.
Right. Yeah, it moved really well. Okay.
The dwarves were quite a hit initially.
Really, we had one customer. I think Scott had a dwarf.
Ian also had bought dwarves, if I remember correctly.
Right. But I think Scott's one is painted. If I can get around to getting him to
showcasing his dwarf army.
Yeah,
he had a very pretty
wouldn't mind
dwarf
getting
army.
that.
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the next page. We got the August releases. Yeah, this is about the time Apotheosis came out.
Yep.
Weren't you running like RPGs as well for?
Yes, Iron Kingdoms. That's why the Liber Mechanica was really handy.
Yeah, tell me about the Liber Mechanica.
Liber Mechanica was because this was back when Iron Kingdoms was still using the D&D system.
Right.
Back when it was still D20.
Right.
So Liber Mechanica gave more detailed in the core book, in the original core book for Iron Kingdoms, all the Mechanica gear was pre-built.
Right.
So Liber Mechanica actually gave you the formula on how to craft them the same way D&D does magic items. You can make Mechanica items.
Are your games still running?
Yes, but I'm using the updated IK system, which is actually based off that War Machine War Game system.
Okay.
I've tried D&D 5th Ed. I'm not impressed.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
We will be flipping through these books. I mean, later on, if we can, we'll probably flip through Apotheosis. We'll probably flip through any of these books. And when we do,
Hypothesis was gorgeous when it first came out.
yeah.
Full color art, really, really big splash.
Also the figures that came out with it. I mean, over here we can see on this page we've got
Yes.
the
There's still a bloody
Karchev
nightmare
is
to
there.
assemble.
Yeah, Karchev is still.
The
I like
only easy to assemble one out of all four of these was Darius.
Karchev. Actually,
Karchev had me screaming blue murder.
really? Why?
Because the contact point, he was one of the first Jack kits
Right.
where his crotch and his legs were separate pieces, and the contact point is toothpick thin. So all that is being held up by this toothpick.
Do you pin? Do you pin your figures?
No,
Oh, you should,
I
man.
don't have a pinning kit. So
We sell pinning kits. You should get one at some point.
I need to learn how to use.
Yeah.
I need to learn
No,
how to
I think
use
it's
one.
very important. I think for
It
any
is.
hobbyist, one of the few things you need to learn how to use is a pin drill
It
or
is
pin
now.
vise. Yeah.
Especially with PP.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. So we got Apotheosis.
Yes, the first previews for Hypothesis.
Is it Apotheosis?
I-
How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Hypothesis.
I call it Apotheosis.
Same difference.
Yeah. So we got some. Is this fluff, right?
It's actually reviewing the books or summarizing it.
Yeah.
So it talks a bit about the fluff and how the story has moved on. It talks about the rules, because this introduced the first big casters and the first character jacks.
Right.
So Thunderhead, Behemoth, Deathjack, and Avatar, I believe.
Right. So there's a few pages of this. Yeah, it's got nice art as well.
Yeah, very fancy splash art.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of flavor what's to come. Yeah, that's you're right. I haven't flipped through this in a while though. Yeah, then we got the modeling and painting section. Harbinger. Actually, I've actually painted one. I've actually painted a Harbinger on commission, and it was not easy to put together.
No, she's not. One of my friends is still trying to assemble her.
Yeah,
and she's screaming blue murder.
okay, so we got the modeling and painting section.
Modeling.
And
Yep.
actually, you know what? I think what White Dwarf is missing is articles like this, how to put it together. It helps, man. It really does help, you know.
Yeah. I think they got him now. I haven't read through White
No,
Dwarf
I haven't been to the
recently.
White Dwarf. But you know what? Let's make it a point not to compare this to White Dwarf because it won't be fair to both magazines here.
True.
So yeah, so it's painting, basing. I like people who base their figures, basing, base colors and stuff like that. So we got mercenary contracts. Tell me about this.
Okay, mercenary contracts. Because mercenaries are full of infinite possibilities.
Right.
If you didn't have contracts, or basically contracts are sort of sub factions.
Right.
So how they managed to internally balance, they were trying to internally balance mercenaries was by separating them into contracts. So these were sort of the precursor to to the theme forces.
And here's a sample, right? We've got Ashlyn Dillis.
No,
Ellis
this
is a sample.
This is just this is. Oh, sorry. Yes, this is the Highborn, using the Highborn Covenant.
Right.
Highborn Covenant was basically the Lele's resistance. Back then, contracts were very loose theme forces. You could actually include a lot
Do
of.
you think it was here where they started thinking about doing theme forces?
I wouldn't be surprised because Privateer Press did a lot of planning in advance.
Okay. So we've got the next part. We've got it's called Blood and Iron, and it's basically the review of the miniature, the rules for the figure,
Yes, the previous.
the stat card.
I mean, Steelhead Halberdiers are still one of the best infantry I've seen. In Mark 1, everything was crazy.
Oh yeah,
overpowered.
that's the other thing. Whenever we talk about any of these old magazines,
Yeah.
and granted 2005 is at this point 15 years old. We need to look at it from the edition it's at. So
Yes.
we shouldn't.
Oh, don't cross.
Don't cross.
Don't
Right?
cross. edition
It was
from
just what it was like when magazine first came out.
that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So we got
But Steelhead Halberdiers, even in this iteration, are
Yeah.
amazing.
cool.
They are cheap. You look at that points cost. You look at those all round. The stats don't look like much.
Right.
But when you think how much you're paying for them, and then you look at things like forefend and set defense, that's going to make them very hard to dislodge in melee. Back then, at that time, your average cutout jack is mat 6. These guys are defense 13. Set defense says, you charge me, I'm 15. You need 9 to hit him.
Right.
9 on 2 dice is not good odds. 4, 5, or 6, 3 usually about there.
Right. Yeah, halberdiers. Yeah.
They're solid line holder unit.
Yeah, and then we got Ashlyn.
Oh, yes.
So Ashlyn is here.
The artwork far outclasses the miniature.
Yeah, actually, when I saw the figure, when the figure arrived, because like for me,
she's got a bowl cut.
Yeah, for like a game shop, it's very important that the figure looks good, because we sell figures. I mean, we also there sell the rules, but usually when somebody impulse buys the figure. So I'm always excited when a nicely sculpted figure comes into the store.
Ashlyn was not one of those
No,
models.
Harbinger, yes.
Yes.
Karchev?
All the big casters were great.
Actually, Karchev?
Well, except Terminus.
Yeah. No, no. Actually, Terminus, I think, is in a quiet taste. Okay, so then we've got the Mule, the Vanguard. The Vanguard, I didn't like the Vanguard. I didn't like the Vanguard. Actually, you know what? To be honest, I didn't really like that many of the.
Admittedly, its head design threw me a little because it looked very sci-fi.
Is it?
But I got used to it. I started thinking of it more as a boiler, and then I got used to it.
Yeah, I think once you look at all the Warjacks as walking boiler units, you know,
then it seems about right.
Yeah, and then we got the Ogren Booker.
Booker, a solid chunk of meat.
Yep, and the gun core. Okay, so we got pistols at dawn. So
this was for the Iron Kingdoms RPG. So they wanted to create a dueling mechanic.
Right.
Basically, very quick, very lethal dueling system. So it was because naturally in an RPG group,
right,
you've got a whole party.
Correct.
But duels are very personal affairs.
Right.
So you don't want this thing that's going to hold. You don't want one guy saying, "Yes, this is my storyline. I'm going to duel. This is my own glory," and everyone else is sitting there for the rest of the session, just going to get on with it.
Okay.
So this was a very quick, lethal.
So very quickly, how did they handle it? Did you ever use this in any of your games?
This one, no.
Right.
Because Iron Kingdoms in D20 were so quick and violent, we didn't need it.
They need to call the guy out. Okay, so you got dueling, and then we get to courage.
This was the short story. This was about where Denegra manages to corner Haley in a swamp.
We at the store we've actually sold a lot of War Machine books and
novels.
magazines. Yeah, no books. I mean the rule books.
Oh yeah.
The supplements, even the magazines after the fact. In fact, even when the edition's gone out, we saw a lot of books, because I think one of the strengths is the artworks, but the story. Yeah, it's the story sells the books.
Yes.
You know,
the stories were very. The stories are very. They were more personal.
Yeah, so I always liked it when like companies do that, have a little bit of story, so you can sink your teeth in it and
yes.
Totally get a feel for
the early characters in their writing were quite likable in the way they handled it.
Do you think the new characters?
One thing I noticed that was very interesting.
What?
They tried to write accents into a lot of the characters early on,
right?
But then they retconned them,
and they threw it out.
Like Vlad couldn't pronounce W's,
right? And then they just threw it out.
Partway through, they just threw it out. So when they changed it, I was like, wait, who's this speaking?
So this is what I want to ask. Do you think the new characters, they don't have much meat?
No, they have a lot of meat. They have so much potential. But the problem is the cast roster is so saturated that so many of them get thrown in the background.
Right. So my point is...
so much potential.
Yeah, so my point is, I mean, in the earlier magazines, the earlier casters, you felt for them a little bit more?
Yes, because the cast was smaller.
Right.
But I personally feel the newer cast are better characters. It's just if they could just take the time to
Which is what I'm trying to say. I mean, there's not much meat. I mean, the whole frame is there.
Yes.
Right?
But there is not enough substance anymore.
Yeah. So how many pages of story is this?
44 to 58. About 15 pages of short story.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Quite solid.
Okay, then we got the press gang. The press gang.
Oh, the old press ganger program.
Yeah. I'm actually, to be honest, them scrapping it.
That was such a shame.
Yeah.
But it was a very solid way to promote the. But the thing is, Privacy Press is too small. They can't manage the resources to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, you think so?
I think that.
But I think they could have maybe downsized it, but not remove it. You know.
They could have scaled it down, and not removed it. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we got scaling up. Amazing.
Yeah, these were for the big. I think they were resin kits.
So it's nice. It's again.
They only made a few of these.
Yeah, so we've got like 2 hobby bits in the magazine. We've got the how to, and then we got the
scaling up was not very common because this was an experiment run by PP.
Right.
For where they wanted to see how these would do as collector pieces. The thing is,
I think they only had like 4. Was it 4?
Yeah, Sorcerer and the Juggernaut and De Negra and the Slayer.
But at this time,
the most popular.
But at this time, it was it 2?
After those 4 models, they never did the large scale resin. They even went to action figures at one point.
Yeah, so those, yeah. Okay, so Pendrake Encounters.
These were some of my favorites.
No, Pendrake Encounters is unique to No Quarter, right?
Yes, because this was for the RPG.
Right.
This basically these took monsters from the Monsternomicon book.
Right.
Basically Iron Kingdom's monster manual.
Yeah, it's quite a shame they removed that one. Okay.
And they gave you good narrative setups,
right.
books on how to use them.
Okay, so that's the Pendrake Encounters, which basically a fleshed out bestiary. Yeah.
It's more like here's how to use your bestiary.
Right. Okay. Then you got Foundry, Forge, and Crucible.
Another Iron Kingdoms related. This focuses on gear.
I always thought that.
These are like new toys for the players.
Yeah, but it was more useful for the RPG.
Yeah, this is basically making RPG versions of the War Machine weapons.
Right. All right, so we got Guts and Gears.
This was one of my favorites.
Arr.
Because
Okay.
Guts and Gears always focused on one infantry type.
Right.
And one jack type.
Right. So this one is the Iron Fang Pikeman.
Yep, the good old Jack Hunters of Khador.
I like the art. Yeah, I like the fact that we got like this plates of them, what they wore, and
yes,
the breakdown.
It shows you their kit disassembled. When I saw the Trencher one in a later issue, I was like, my God, that's a lot of crap.
No worries, we're gonna get to that one. We'll get to that one. We've got. By the way, if you're listening, we're trying to cover as many of these magazines as we can. So do subscribe, and give us comments. Let us know how much more of this you want to see. Yeah, no, back to the magazine. We've got the Ironclads. The Ironclad.
The classic.
Yeah. The old poses for Jacks, though.
They were.
Right?
Well, they certainly felt like big, clumsy war machines.
Yeah.
You can see that they've clearly put a lot of work and thought into how
design.
the Jacks work.
Yeah. I like that. I can't help thinking that they've lost a little bit of that. Maybe it's just me.
If you check the command books, they're in there.
Okay. So then we got the color variations of the Iron Kingdom. I like this. I mean, I always think that Jack should be painted differently.
Yes.
One of the
armies in general.
Different
regiments.
I always had a problem with War Machine for the simple fact that, as compared to the other popular tabletop game, which encouraged you to have variety, the War Machine world didn't really. Maybe they do, but it didn't encourage it. You could in that space military world of the other game, you can just create a whole force. You know what I mean?
War Machine has quite a lot of it. If you look through Privacy Press's forums and galleries, you will actually see a lot of players play many different color variations. But often new players, not knowing any better, will be like, okay, I'm new to painting, I'm new to learning. I need to figure out how to apply these colors first.
But here's the thing though, the other military game encouraged you to have a totally different color scheme.
They would showcase.
Different colors of a particular soldier of that force.
Yes.
And sometimes it's all cosmetic, you know.
Initially, they didn't do enough to encourage this variety.
Yeah.
But down the line, they did.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So now we have the install report, and this is Z Games from Vancouver. I like that. I like the fact that
these give spotlights on active communities within the.
Right. And here we got the battle report. Yeah. So.
Oh yes, this one. I remember this.
Here's the thing. I want to run all of these battle reports in
reenactments.
I refight them. So hopefully there will be a project later.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll go out.
Could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll go out. We'll get.
I still got my Mark 1 cards. I can actually build.
Yeah, you know. The point is to have games like that. Yeah. You know? So we can actually get the figures and just rerun these games. So let's just flip through this because when we do run these games, and tell me if you want to see it. If you want to see it in the comments,
do let us know.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. So battle report and the Steamroller Tournament Series overview. Steamroller. Did you like Steamroller?
I certainly like the current one. It's
no. Again, 2005.
2005. I never really got into Steamroller in 2005.
Oh, why?
We didn't have a big enough community at the time.
Right.
I mean, our first tournament was what, six guys? The next one was 10.
Yeah. We started quite slow.
We were very slow.
But let me just say this though: when War Machine, when Privateer Press first arrived at the store. We sold
quite a few inquiries.
No, we sold out within hours. We sold out within hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, but sadly though, and I don't know whether I should be mentioning this here during the magazine flip, but sadly, all the players that were the initial buyers of the sets,
all gone.
No, they stopped playing after 6 months. Or
seriously, that quickly?
Yeah. There were a lot of people who had sets. So and now we got the retailers list. So it's all on the list of retailers, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Open game license. Gen Con Indiana 2005. The poop deck. I like the poop deck.
Actually, I don't remember the poop deck very well. What was it? Oh, I remember the sidebar is a preview of the next issue.
Yeah, and the poop deck's like quick shots.
The poop deck was basically it would basically shot little advice columns.
Yeah, just quick shots. So the last page is
the last page is generally always an army shot.
Nice, huh?
Very nice.
Okay, and the back. Look at the back page. So that was basically the look through issue 1 No Quarter magazine, July 2005. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Well, also don't forget to leave us a comment. If
yes.
there's anything you'd like to specifically.
Or if there's anything we missed, if there's anything we missed in
exactly.
All right, we'll see you in the next one.